Hey listeners, so today we are diving into the world of spiritual energy and how it all plays an important part in everyday conscious living. That's right, your woo-woo girl is here to break it all down for you, so stay tuned.
You're listening to the Spiritual Banks Podcast.
Hello, family. How's it going? The world is a little upside down right now. Feels a little heavy. Feels sad and heavy. This evening, a mile from my house, a shooter walked into the hospital complex where my children were born, where we see our doctors, and people died and got injured. And so I want to take a moment to, number one, acknowledge that exists within this time and space that I'm recording. I also want to let you know that you are loved, that we need to say that more often to each other. And it's just important for me to be able to communicate that to you, the listeners, tonight. Chris, Mr. Banks, the voice, he's still on a podcast vacation. Say that really fast. A podcast vacation. But I do promise you that he has not abandoned us. He will be back soon. We've got some episodes planned with him before the end of the season. We are at episode 5, making this halfway through season 1, you guys, which is amazing. So thank you for listening and for sharing this and investing some time into this little wee podcast of ours. In this week's episode, it's exciting because we're diving into the energetic aspect of life, what some of it is, and typically just kind of how to manage it, making this a part 1 and part 2 podcast episode. The part 1 is all informational. Part 2 is going to be a meditation, and I've broken them up because I want you to be able to have them separate from each other. So if it's not convenient to meditate while you're listening to this the first time, you can always just go to the next one whenever you're ready, and you don't have to fast forward through it. So that's what I would want if I was listening to this. So there we go. That's where we're at today. Right. So for the last 12 years, one of the staples that I teach within my practice is the energetic system. I specifically teach the chakra system and the energetic body. And practice is kind of centered around balancing them. I do this because I find it super critical to be able to understand your own energy and how it functions and how to balance it and what it feels like before you reach out to the spirit world and try to interpret them. Something that's really cool is that over the years, the chakra system has become more and more known by Western culture. And so more and more students seem to come in knowing about this. It's important because it's super valuable to understand and be aware of the fact that we aren't just our physical bodies, that we're kind of like this entire network, and each component of that network is crucial to how we function, or really the lack of ability to function at all. So I thought today we could crack this open and take a look-see. It may be review for some of you. However, for some of you, this might be completely new. If it is review, maybe it's a good refresher, or maybe it can be sent to someone that you might think would gain some clarity or value from it. If you're new to it, maybe this will open up a different way of looking at things, a different way of looking at life. So let's start with the word chakra. You spell that word C-H-A-K-R-A and it's Sanskrit for wheel or cycle. Each one of the 7 wheels or energy centers or chakras, because those can be used interchangeably, and I know that as a teacher I use them interchangeably, and I will probably do so in the next few moments. So anyways, each one sits along the spine, so down the meridian of your body. And it starts at the base of your spine, and then it progresses up to the top of your head. And there is a different color associated with each chakra, and this is not without reason. The color association is exactly that of the rainbow. So you have Roy G. Biv. And so you start at the root chakra, which is at the base of your spine, and you have the color red. And then as you move up to the sacral chakra, you have the color orange. And then as you move up to the solar plexus, you have yellow. Heart chakra is green. Throat chakra is blue. The third eye chakra is indigo. And then your crown chakra is violet. And if you can, while you're listening, I don't know, you might be looking at it too. While you're listening, I encourage you to pull up, just Google a chakra image so that you can kind of get a sense for what I'm feeling. Words are hard today, you guys. A sense of what I'm trying to explain to you, but I need to ground. Anywho, so it might just be good to have like a visual there, so that this makes a little more sense, or maybe look at one after. But if you'll remember from science class, each color along the electromagnetic spectrum has a vibration. The chakras and their colors are no different. Each chakra has a different vibration and can be correlated. This is super cool, right? With its own musical note. I happen to know that the musical note associated to the heart is the key of D. A little fun fact for you. What is interesting is that this version of the chakras wasn't introduced until the 1970s. And what we know as the chakra system is a Western culture application. And it's kind of brought about the question of like, should this be accepted, like an accepted interpretation of the chakra system? You know, should the other 137 energy centers be ignored? Should we also take into account the esoteric tradition that has been around for thousands of years? I don't know the answer. I don't think the average person is going to spend a lot of time really diving into all 144 chakras and the thousands of years of practice that's behind them. So I kind of like the fact that there's this very simple, very straightforward approach that is taught. And then if it calls to you, of course, go research more, always. The most important thing to remember, or to kind of take into consideration, that I think runs through all interpretations of the chakra system, is that these energy centers are a way of understanding ourselves better. Not just physically, but spiritually. They go through all of the energetic bodies, which we're not going to get into today because I want to keep it super simple for us to be able to kind of integrate this information. But we'll talk more about this right after this break. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but we have a newsletter. What? Yes, we have a newsletter, and we would love it if you would sign up for it. Why would you do such a thing? Well, I'm glad you asked. Every week, you'll get the latest episode sent to your inbox, so it makes listening just a tiny bit easier. Go to spiritualbanks.com, when it's convenient for you, of course, and sign up. Love you guys. ready for this? Bom, 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 bom. I don't think that's the right bom, 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 but we're going to take it. Hey guys, so let's dive a little further into the chakras. Chakras are super effing cool. And we're just going to start with one of the reasons they're really cool is because each chakra is connected to a specific gland in your body. So we're going to start with the root chakra, and I'm also going to tell you where these are located in case you are not looking at a cool graphic image of these, so you can start to build your own image. And so let's start. The root chakra is located at the base of your spine, so like in your tailbone area, and it is connected to the adrenal glands. And then you move up to about 3 finger widths below your belly button, and you have the sacral chakra, which if you are a woman, the gland is your ovaries, which, I don't know, is that a gland? Probably is. I should probably know these things. And then if you're a man, it's your testicles. Then you go up and you have the solar plexus, which is kind of like, it's above your belly button in that space, like below your diaphragm, but before you hit your belly button, like right in the center. That's the solar plexus, and it's connected to the pancreas. And then you have the heart chakra, which is right in the middle of your chest, and it is connected to the thymus. And then you have the throat chakra, which is right in the center of your neck, and you have, it's connected to the thyroid. Then right between your brows in the center of your forehead, you have the most famous chakra of all time, the third eye chakra, and you have the pineal gland. And then right on the crown of your head is appropriately named the crown chakra, and it's connected to your pituitary gland. I want to take a moment before we go any further to state that there's not one chakra more important than the other. And when one is out of alignment or out of balance, the ones around it are. So every single one is important. If you will imagine, maybe water cascading down from a pitcher trying to fill each glass, they all are affected. So I don't know if that's the best imagery to give you, but it's what came to me in this moment, so you'll just have to take it and make the best of it. Okay, so each chakra also correlates not just with certain glands, but with certain parts of the body and represents different aspects of our life, you guys. What? Intelligent. We are intelligent spiritual beings. So the root chakra is connected to, don't laugh, the rectum. Anyways, it's also connected to your sciatic nerve, the lower spine, your legs, and your feet. The parts of life that the root chakra expresses in are typically areas that pertain to stability. So things like food, shelter, your overall sense of safety, and finances. So in other words, your survival needs, like your basic needs to survive in this world, are connected to your root chakra. And when these needs aren't met, or there's not a trust or a feeling of safety in this area, it creates an imbalance. And it can express itself in the physical. And I have found that it almost always certainly does express itself in the physical. So some of the symptoms that one could experience when this area is out of alignment might be something like deep fatigue, depression and anxiety, kidney and bladder issues, depending on the text that you look at, could be associated to this, although I personally believe that this is a different chakra that kind of affects that system. But issues with the sacrum, so like your tailbone area, so lower back pain, hip pain, issues with your feet, autoimmune disorders, skin disorders, and eating disorders tend to be kind of linked to an imbalance in your root chakra. So then you move up. Can you remember what's there? Quiz time. Doot, doot, doot. I don't know I don't know. We're just doing theme songs today that aren't really theme songs. It's the sacral chakra, and it's connected to our sexual organs, definitely to our kidneys and bladder. And the parts of our life that the sacral chakra expresses in, definitely our sexuality, definitely our passions, our emotions, and our creative expression. Like, this is really where we express from. So a lot of artists, no matter what their modality, will hold this color within their energetic field pretty heavily, which is really cool to know. So I just thought I'd tell you. But if these areas of life aren't being met, or there's an imbalance within this energy center, it can be expressed symptomatically by experiencing issues with the bladder and kidney, including kidney infections, kidney stones, struggles with reproductive organs, whether that's infertility or really heavy periods, or even cancers in this area, and pelvic disease, I think specifically in women, and your sexual drive, so low libido or overactive libido, that sort of thing. Yeah, little nugget there for you. So then we'll move up to the solar plexus, which is connected to our stomach, our gallbladder, our intestines, our pancreas, and spleen. The parts of life that are connected to this chakra is our personality, our ego, our identity, our personal freedom, and our authenticity. And in my opinion, this chakra homes our mental health. There is no coincidence that this chakra is located in the stomach, and that our gut health also reflects our mental health. So for me, it's all tied in. If this area is out of alignment, one could feel symptoms such as digestive or adrenal illnesses and possibly spinal issues, just in that area of the back. And I can't remember. You guys, listen, I take anatomy and physiology in August. I'll start that journey. So maybe I'll come back and redo this and I'll sound super smart. But not tonight. There's just too much going on to feel super smart tonight. I'm glad you're hanging in here with me. If you are still listening to this, let's move up to the heart chakra. And this is very appropriately connected to the physical body in the way of the heart, the lungs, the arms, and the hands. It is most correlated in physical life to our feeling of connectedness, our ability to control our emotions, trust, empathy, and compassion. This chakra is also, when you're working spiritually, is what we call the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. So it's very much so the bridge from the physical chakras that are more to do with our physical life into the chakras that have to do more with communication and spirituality. And I always say, even though I preface this with there is not one chakra more important than the other, this one sure holds a lot of importance, because you can always tell a spiritual practitioner that is connected with this area versus one that is not. So just, another little nugget. It's the center in which we connect with others spiritually and emotionally. If this center is not functioning properly, if it's out of alignment, it is possible to experience cancer, high blood pressure, heart problems, circulatory issues, involuntary muscle movement, and the inability to connect with others. So, it's a super valuable, as are all of the energy centers, but this one just seems to hit different. The throat chakra is next, and this is connected to temperature regulation of the body, our metabolism, the mouth, the jaw, the tongue, the pharynx, the palate, the neck and shoulders, and I would even add ears to this. And it's directly correlated with being able to speak our truth, to hear truth, and the feeling as though we are being heard. When this area is out of alignment, one could experience symptoms such as asthma, cervical spine issues, hyperactive or hypoactive thyroid, issues with the jaw, vocal cords, and ears. We move up to the third eye chakra, and this is connected to our nervous system, our eyes, and our brain. It is correlated with spiritual sight or psychic awareness, also known as our intuition, spiritual communication, and our perception of our overall life, so how we see the world. Symptoms connected to this area being out of alignment are headaches, glaucoma, neurological issues, central nervous system illnesses, and the inability to connect with your intuition. We move up to the crown chakra, and this correlates with the brain as well, and also with the central nervous system. As it correlates with life, the crown chakra is the center of spirituality, higher wisdom, and enlightenment, and connecting to the divine. Should this center be out of alignment, one may experience exhaustion, issues with cerebrum function, and issues with the nervous system. One may also not be open to or aware of the spiritual aspect of life. One could feel hopelessness, inability to experience joy, that sort of thing. So, super quick lesson. Let's take a break.
You found yourself listening to the Spiritual Banks podcast with your host, Nicole Banks.
I do feel the need to put a little bit of a disclaimer out there. I'm definitely not promoting or conveying that the only reason that one can experience these symptoms is because their chakras are out of alignment. I really believe that we need to have kind of like this healthy balance between Western and Eastern medicine, and that we do need to consider that it could be more than the physical aspect of life that is causing dis-ease within our body. So you see, my friends, the chakra system is a massive part of our lives, even if we're not aware of it. There is nothing that these energy centers do not affect. So then how do we go about aligning them or balancing them? There are multiple ways we can do this, but my favorite is a simple chakra meditation. It's what I teach my students. It's what I do for myself. Some people use yoga. Some people use meditation in yoga. Some people go for energy healing. It's really like what resonates within you. I do just want to, again, reiterate that the most important thing that I'm trying to communicate with you is that you become aware of how being aware of these energy centers can actually aid you in your progression in life. How taking the time to connect with and balance these centers can actually empower you. So if you notice, today's podcast, again, came in 2 parts. And so I invite you to go to part 2 when you have the time, when it's good for you, where you'll find the guided chakra meditation. And my hope is that by offering it up, it can help you kind of start this journey into your own spiritual awareness. You guys, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found it, at the very least, to be intriguing. If you liked this episode, please feel free to subscribe to the Spiritual Banks podcast. We are on social media. You can find us both on Instagram and Facebook. Feel free to give us a like or a follow. As always, we appreciate any time you share the Spiritual Banks podcast. And if you'd like, please give us a review. Until next time, we hope you know that the universe loves you, Spirit loves you, and that we love you. Be safe.